Hello everyone and welcome back. I hope you enjoyed last week's session. As you can see on the right side, this is what we were trying to build, a small Xamarin Forms application which would show you all the statistics around the coronavirus or COVID-19 for short. And this is what we got around to creating so far. Let us have a look. So we were able to create the screen where we had the news coming in at the top with a cover flow. You can see this nice transition. What we will be doing, we'll be taking it to the next level now. We'll try to complete the other sections today. Just one thing, I got some feedback on the last week video that I'm going too slow and maybe I need to fast track it a bit. The reason I was doing it a bit slowly because I believe some of the people who are not very fluent in Xamarin or Xamarin Forms, it would be a good opportunity for them to learn. So today I'll be trying to adopt a mix wherein I will try to copy paste some of the sections and then explain, but where I feel it requires me to type something, I'll be going with that approach as well. So without further ado, let us start. So let us start with the second section, which is that chart. For this chart, we are going to be using microcharts. It's an excellent charting component built on top of Skia Sharp. We'll be making use of that. So let us start. Let us go back over here. So this is our news items cover flow that we implemented last week. I'm just minimizing it. And let's give it since we want to make it a little bit faster, let me do some copy paste. So let me bring in a header section. So it's nothing but a label saying COVID-19 global cases. Style is section header style. This is a style which has been added over here. Size 22, dark text color and bold font. If you want to just run it and see, make sure our hot reload is also working. While this is loading, let me go back to the Postman. And if you remember last time, we made use of this particular API to get the latest news items. So this is the API. This time we'll be making use of this particular API to get all the cases. So let me copy this. Here you can see it is showing you the date it was last updated on, total number of cases, which is around 6.9 million almost as of today. So far today, 44,622 cases have come in, almost 400,000 cases of deaths so far, 1,555 deaths today itself, and so on. And it has much more information, such as total number of affected countries is 215, how many what is the total population on average, how many tests have been conducted, how many cases per every 1 million of population, and so on. It gives you all this information. We'll be going with that. So let us have a look at our simulator first. So yeah, so we have got our header over here. Now so let us copy paste this, minimize. So one of the things we will need to do, if you recall, we made use of the app session to define our API endpoints. I'm going to add another one. Let's call it public static string world stats URL equals to, this is my URL. And now to extract this information, we need to first define a model which is going to be called, let's call it world stats. So we have got the public class world stats. We can bring in some of the fields that we need. Of course, we do not need all the fields, but feel free, all the fields are available in this API. If you want to make use of anything additional, you can go ahead and use this. So this is our world stat model class. I can now go back to my view model, and I can now extract this information. So you can see over here we were getting the news information. Now we can say get the world stats information. So we need to define this variable as well. I'm just going to copy paste. This is some basic stuff. I'm not going to explain this much. This is just a property to hold our world statistics, which we will refer back to bindings on our dashboard page. And one of the things, if you recall, we had this loading text over here. So maybe we can customize this little bit. So when we are getting the news information, I may want to call it fetching latest world news. When I'm getting world statistics, I can change this to something different, maybe getting world statistics, or getting total number of COVID cases. We are just going to put a breakpoint over here and run this to see if we get the information back correctly. So yes, we have got active 3.1 million cases, total of 6.8 million cases, and so on. So we have received the latest information back. And if I go back to my simulator, so you can see over here now it is showing me getting total number of COVID cases. Initially when it started, since it was very quick, it was showing me fetching latest world news. So let me continue this. So we have got this latest information. Now one of the things that we are going to do, we are going to be using microcharts to display our donut chart. Earlier I was planning to use Syncfusion, but given that Syncfusion is not free, they do have a community edition which you can use for free, but I decided to go with purely open source components. So I am going to work with microcharts. You will see it's also very easy to work with. Let's add microcharts. Let's search for it. So the component I'm going to add is microcharts.forms. One of the things to note, I am not going to be adding this latest stable release, which is 0.7. Instead, I am going to add 0.85, the pre-release. And I'll tell you the reason when we start working with this. I'll tell you why this is required. So let me add the microchart.forms to all our 3 projects. So it has already asked me that it would be adding Skia Sharp. Fine, let's add this. Let's have a look at our dependencies, what all has been added. Please excuse my slow internet connection. While it is doing, I'll explain you why do we need to go with this pre-release version of microcharts. The current version of microcharts does not allow you to add or bind to the actual chart data. So you have to construct the chart type using the code behind. I do not like to do this in the code behind on the GUI itself. I prefer to go with the bindable properties. So the current version does not allow that. They are coming up with this feature in the latest version. That is why I have added the pre-release version. In this pre-release version, they already have this facility built in. So the way it is going to be done is, let me add a simple chart component over here, and I will explain to you how this will be handy. So I am going to add a new property chart, and this is going to be a microcharts chart. Now with this, what I can do, I can now build this chart. So I can call it case stats chart is equal to new, for example, a donut chart or a new line chart, and so on. With the previous one, you could not do that. You had to do this whole thing in your code behind. So this is the advantage. So I can build a new donut chart over here, and now I can go back to my page, and I can add this component over here. So the way I'm going to do is, I am going to let's have a grid for this donut chart. I'm going to define a grid. Let me just copy paste to keep it simple. So we have a grid. I'm going to have a height request of 180, filling all the space. I'm going to give a margin of 32 on both sides, and then I'm also going to have two columns. The first column is going to be 180, and the other is going to take up all the space. So what the advantage with this is, it is going to give me a square box of 180 by 180, where we can put our the donut component. So once I have this, I can just define my chart over here. Let me add the namespace. So this is the advantage I get, chart, and I'm binding it to my case stats chart. I'm taking up all the space. I'm putting it in the first column. In the current stable release, this option is not available. You have to build this in the code behind. Now if I run this, you will be able to see it is going to display me an empty chart, because of course we just constructed a chart without any data in it, without any series. So it is not showing up anything. So let us fix this. So what we want to display, we want to show 3 different items. We want to show the total number of active cases. We want to show the total number of recovered cases, and we want to show the total number of the percentage, the deaths, which is the total number of cases that we have today, which is around 6.88 million. So to do this, I am going to define, first of all, let me compute the percentages. So the way donut chart works, it works on the percentages. You have to give for each pie slice how much percentage it is going to have. So for this, I am going to simply define 3 properties on my model, on the world stat model. I'm going to call them active percentage, recovered percentage, and deaths percentage. And this is nothing but your active divided by the total number of cases. Cases is the total number of cases. So recovered divided by total number of cases, deaths divided by total number of cases. All 3 of these is going to equate to 100% when you add them up together. So your cases today is nothing but the sum of deaths plus recovered plus active. Critical is part of the active group. So we only need to work with the deaths, recovered, and active cases. Once I have this, I can go back and I can do something like this. Let me go back to my view model, and here now I can add some entries. I'm saying this is the entries. These are the items in the donut chart. So I'm going to have 3 chart entries. One is going to be the active percentage. So this is the percentage value. This is what is going to be shown on the slide, on the pie slice, how big the slice is going to be, what color I want it to be. Let me fix the namespace. It's going to be coming from Skia Sharp. So for the active cases, I'm going to use this color. For my recovered cases, I'm going to use this color, and for the deaths percentage, I'm going to use this color. And the labels, I'm going to just put the labels active, recovered, and deaths. And the value label is going to be in percentage if we decide to use the legend which is provided out of the box in microcharts. But one of the things I would do is, I do not want to use this built-in legend. I want to build my own legend on the side, as you can see, because that will make it look a little bit nicer. So I'm putting the label text style as 0. So I don't want to have this text displayed. And the hole radius, how big this radius is going to be, that the inside hole in the donut chart. So I'm saying it is going to be around 65%. So the remaining 35% is going to be the thickness of the chart. Let us run this chart now, run this application, and see what do we end up with. See, it came up, nice animation, but no labels, because we decided not to go with the labels. If I change this to something different, let us say 85, let me stop and run this, you will notice that now the thickness will become much thinner, because I'm taking up 85% of the inner space. Very good. So you notice this, and maybe I don't know if you notice one of the things, when it was loading initially, it was showing fetching latest world news, and then it said fetching the world statistics. That is why we have put that loading text property. This is what we defined in our view model base last week. So this is the advantage that we get. So here we go, we have got this. So let's stick it back to 65%, and now let's go and fix the other items. So we have got a chart which is looking nice. Now we need to display other information. So I'm going to build a custom legend. So this custom legend, I am going to again be using a grid. Let me just put in, so it's a grid, it is going to go in the column 1. I'm going to put it on the end, vertically center it. I'm going to give some row spacing of 10 in between and column spacing of 12. I'll show you where this is all being used. So we have got 3 rows in here because I want to display 3 items. One is the active cases, the recovered cases, and the deaths. And we have 2 columns, so both of them of auto size. So let us display our active cases first in our first row. I'm going to bring in the active cases. So this is our active cases. What is the namespace we gave for our pancake? It is pancake. This is the problem if we use Visual Studio to automatically define the namespaces. This is what it does. It puts everything in one line. I prefer to put it in different lines so that we can view it properly. So let me do this. So it's a pancake view. What it is doing, let us do something. Let us hide this. I will be explaining. Okay, why is it not comment? Yes. So it's a pancake. It is going in the grid row 0, column 1. I'm going to give it a height request of 10 pixels and width of 24. It is going to be start, vertically, and it's going to be showing in the active cases color. This active cases color is the same color that we defined over here for our active cases, and the same color that we defined last week over here. So we have the active cases color, recovered cases color, death cases color, and total cases color. This is what we are doing, and I'm going to give it a margin and a corner radius. Now if I run this, you can see how this is going to look like. It's just going to show you a small oval shape just in that color. That's it. That's all it's going to show right now. So this is what it is. So once we have this, let me now uncomment this part. And what this part is doing, basically it's a stack layout which is going in the column 1, and it is showing two labels, the active label, and in the second label I am displaying the active percentage with the formatting of 0.0%. So the two styles I'm using for this is legend header text style and legend percentage text style. So let me bring in these two and add them to my app.xaml. So we have the legend header text style and legend percentage text style. Let me save this part, and let me also save this. So here you go. So you can see total number of active cases worldwide as of now is 45.2%. Don't bother about this space, we will fix this later. So this is what we have. Now the same thing I can do, I can basically just copy paste for my recovered cases and for my deaths cases. Let me minimize this. I can do the same thing now. Let's add it here. Let's fix this. It's the same thing. The only thing it is doing this time, it is going to row number 1 instead of row number 2, and it is using the recovered cases color to display that palette, and it's showing the recovered percentage, and we have got the deaths which is going in the row number 2, and it is showing the information. So let's save this. Here you go. So we have got this section covered. So our chart has come to life. So with this one completed, let me minimize this. What we can build now is we can display the total case details. For this, what I plan to do is I plan to have a 2x2 grid basically, so that I can show a pancake view with maybe some shadow in the background, and I can display the cases. Let us define our grid here. So we have got our grid. It is taking the height of 260 points. Again, the same margin. Since it is going to be a 2x2 grid, but I want to have some spacing in between, I can do that with row spacing and column spacing as well. There is nothing wrong with that, just that I decided to go with this particular one by adding a separate grid column and grid row in between, but you can very easily achieve that with a grid space. So how are we going to do this? Let me just try to build one of them, and then we will do the rest by just copy pasting. So I'm going to add the pancake view. Let's say it's going to go to row 0, column 0. I am going to have a padding of say 16. I'm going to fill it horizontally, fill it vertically. I'm going to give it a corner radius of 6. I am going to say has shadow equals to true, and let us give it a background color. So the background color is going to be the page background color, static resource page background color, which is white. Now this is needed, this is very much needed, because if you do not give it a background color, when the shadow shows up, it will be showing, you will be able to see the whole shadow, which will look very, very odd. So this is the reason why we want to do this. Let's save and see how it looks like. So yeah, you can see over here. Obviously it did not take the background color. Did I copy it correctly? Page background color. Yeah, this is correct. Maybe I think there is no content in it. That is the reason it is showing up like this. Okay, so once we have this, what I can do inside, I can just build some content. Let me show you the content that I'm going to build. So we have a stack layout. Orientation is vertical, spacing is 4. I'm going to give spacing between the two lines as 4 pixels, sorry. And in between I have another stack layout, which is going to have this pancake view, the palette that we want to display in the total cases color. The text I'm going to give as total cases, legend header, text style. I'm going to display my total number of cases in this format, comma separated, with, or let's call it 1000 separated. This is the style I'm going to use, and then I'm going to display below that the total number of additions or the today's cases only. So we are going to have, I'm going to display plus and 1000 separated text, and this is the style I'm going to use. So let me add these styles and let us run and see how it is looking like. So I'm going to bring in my two styles. One is of size 20, dark text color, bold font. The other is medium font, size 16. Yeah, something is wrong. It is not showing up properly. Let us try to see what has gone wrong with it. So first of all, we have a pancake view. Background color. Let's switch off the shadow for now. So we switch off the shadow. Yep, without the shadow it is coming fine. If I give it a border thickness of 1, and border color of black, okay, this is interesting. So we have, it's only that the shadow is not coming. Let me stop and restart the application in case it is a hot reload issue. No, it is not a hot reload issue. I think what has happened is maybe in the latest version they may have changed something. So let me define the shadow in a different way. So let me get rid of this shadow from here, and let me add a shadow here. I recall in the latest version they made some changes to this pancake view, so now there's a property called shadow which we can use. Drop shadow, I can say the color is hash. Okay, let's stick to black shadow for now, and we will give it an opacity of 0.8. I will offset it by 4 points on either sides, and we will give it a blur radius of, let's say, 20. Why it did not like this? Why did it not like this? Nope, this is not it. So let's remove this from here. Let's bring this back and maybe force this background color to be white. Okay, this one is working. So why is our page background color not working? What is the page background color? Is FF. Here you go. So we have a small mistake here. So let's fix this back. Here you go. So we have got a total number of cases, which is around 6.9 million, and today total of 48,638 cases came. This is our total cases. Now the same thing I can do for my other sections. Let us do that for active cases. In fact, let me bring in all of them together, and then we will run it. So we have got the active cases. The only thing I'm doing, I'm putting in the grid row 0, column number 2, which is at the end. Same concept, just using the active cases color for the palette, displaying the word active, showing the total number of cases. And then since we do not have the new, for the active cases, we do not have this concept of how many new active cases came today, because there is a concept of recoveries as well, and so on. So we will be using critical. How many of these active cases are currently critical? Same thing we have for the recoveries. For the recoveries, unfortunately, they are not providing any further stats of how many recovered today. So for the second row, we are going to leave it empty. And we have the total number of deaths and the daily increase in the deaths as well. So let me save this. Here you go. So we have got total cases, active cases, recovered, and deaths. And it is not scrolling yet. Okay, let us fix our scrolling. Did we put it inside a scroll view? Yes, we put it inside the scroll view. Inside the scroll view, we have a stack layout. And inside the stack layout, we have all the components. Okay. So this is what we have built so far, total number of cases. Now the next we need to do is we need to bring in the top countries. In fact, let us start with that first. Let us bring in the top countries header. I do not like Visual Studio for Mac. The moment I start typing, it just expands everything because it is still not complete. Total countries headline. Now, one of the things I'm going to do over here, one I could simply do was this. Let us start with that first, and then we will take it forward. So I could have simply started with this. So I would have said top countries. Let me run this. But what I want to do over here is I want to show the top 5 countries, and then I want to have an ability to navigate to another page where you can see all the countries, such the view all. So that is the reason I don't want to put it in this way. Rather, what I would do is I would put it inside a grid view. So I'll add a grid. Let's say let it fill everything, the whole space horizontally. Margin, let's say 32 0 32 0. Okay, and this label, we are going to move this inside. We are going to move this label inside, and instead of horizontally centering it, we can put it on the left hand side, start. And since I've already, what I can do is I can actually remove this margin from here altogether, and I can add this margin to my grid, because I'm going to also be adding another one, which is the view all. So here you go. So we have got the top countries, and we can add a label for view all. So it is going to be on the end, horizontal options end. Let me vertically center it as well. Let me vertically center it as well so that they don't look out of. So text equals to view all. Okay. Text color equals to, let's say, blue color for now. We can define a style for this, and we are going to be using our we already defined the, let's say, do we have a style? Yeah, we have a small page header style, which is the one that we use for the today's date. We can use the same style. Here you go. Yeah, so we have the view all. Now, one of the things we will later on be doing is we will be adding a gesture to this. So I'll say label dot gesture recognizers. We'll be adding a gesture. So on tap, we would want to, I'm just putting a comment, navigate to all countries page, right? So this is what we will be doing. Let's just put it as a comment for now. In fact, the same thing what we should be doing, if you remember, in our news we had the news items. Even when you click on a news, we should actually be going to another page which will show you more information about that news. So perhaps something similar we can do over here. So ff image cached image dot gesture recognizers, and we will be adding a tab gesture recognizer over here, and we will bind it to a command on our view model, which will take us to that new page. So let's say navigate to news details page. Okay, I'm just going to comment this out for now and put in to do. This is, we can come back to this later and we can work on this. All right, so this is our header section. Now we need to display a list of all the countries. To get the list of all the countries, we are going to again make use of an API. So let me go back to my Postman. So to get the cases by country, this is the API that we have. When you call this, I can sort it by cases, so the total number of cases, the most number of cases at the top. So it is going to give me all the countries. For example, the first country is going to be USA. The country information is ID is 840, ISO 2 code is US, ISO 3 code is USA. This is the latitude, this is the longitude, this is the flag. The total number of cases in US is 1.96 million. Today we had 1.5k cases. Deaths are 111k and so on. The population of US is, how much is it? 330 million, and out of which cases per 1 million is 5,946. We have all sort of stats which you can use. So we are going to make use of this API. Let me stop this. Let's go back to our app session and define an endpoint variable for this. So public static string, we will call it countries, country stats URL equal to, this is our country stats URL. With this, we also need to define a model for the country stats. Let's add a model. Country stats. Last time I showed you whether you can make use of the quicktime.io or JSON to C#, different utilities which are available to you to extract or convert your JSON response to C# code. So this is I've done all of that work earlier, and I'm just copy pasting it over here. So one of the things you will notice, for example, in the country there was a lot more information such as latitude and longitude. It has the ISO code, it had the flag and so on. I decided to only bring in some basic information, just the flag. I did not decide to bring in anything more because the country name anyways is coming over here. I just needed this for the flag, and also I have tried to this time bring in all the fields. Of course, on the main page we will not be showing all this information, but when we go to the countries or all countries page, when we display everything in the list view, I'm planning to implement a flip type of view. When you click on a country, the card is going to flip and it is going to show you much more information. So rather than just showing you what are the total number of cases or how many cases came in today or the deaths, I will also be showing, okay, you know what, this is in this China is in Asia continent. China has a population of XYZ. Total number of cases are this for every 1 million. These are the number of cases which have been tested positive. These are the deaths per 1 million population. These are the recoveries that have happened so far, and so on. So I can do it in much better fashion. So this is our country stats. Let me now go back to our view model, and now we can do something similar and say get country stats. But one thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to change the label to getting top 5 countries, or getting cases for top 5 countries. So let's do some things. We'll say where country stats equals to, we have already REST helper dot get async, and we are going to get a list of country stats. And we are going to get it from app session dot country stats URL. Of course, we have to do await. So let me just run this and see how it looks like, whether we get the information correctly, and then we will do a little bit more on this. Move to space, make it cleaner. So what do we have? So we have got 215 countries information. Let's look at the first country, which is USA in North America, 1.1 million cases, and so on. So we have all the information. That is good. This is a good start. Now, but what I want is, I only want to take the top 5 countries. So let me do this. I will say dot order by descending, country dot cases. I want to sort it by cases, the top cases first, and I will take only the top 5. Dot to list. So let me put it over here so you can see what is happening. Here you go. So I'm getting all the 215 cases, then I'm sorting them by number of cases. I have already done that, by the way, in my API. I do not actually need to do this, just to be on the safe side. Then I'm taking the top 5 countries. So now this variable is only going to have the top 5 countries. Now one thing I want to show is, for each of these top 5 countries, how much of the world total cases does it constitute. For example, US constitutes around 30%. We have almost 7 million cases to date, almost 6.88 million, out of which US has around 1.3, 1 point something million, which is roughly around 25% of the cases. So I want to display that information. So for this, let me just add a variable in my country stats. I'm just going to define a custom variable called percentage of total, and I'm going to set this over here. So the way I can set it is, I can say country list, country stats dot for each item in the country stats. I can say dot percentage of total. What is the field? Percentage of global is equal to the number of cases divided by the total number of cases around the world. So I can say convert dot to single c dot cases, which is, say in US's case, it's going to be around 1.1 million or 1.3 million, divided by the total number of cases from the world stats. We already have the total number of cases from the world stats. Here you go. So this is going to get me the total number of, or the percentage for each of these country cases. Once I have done this, I can bind it to a property so that I can display it on the screen. I am going to do something similar. I'm going to define okay, let's do this again, a country stats property, and then once I am done, I can say country stats is equal to, here you go. Now I can bind this on my view model. Why does it not like it? Local variable list cannot implicitly convert country stats to iList. This is a list. This is a list. List cannot implicitly convert. Typing mistake. Here we go. So we have got this information. Now I can display this information on my page. Let me just run the application. Let me reduce the space over here. So we are not showing anything yet. So the way I'm going to do, I'm just going to bring in a collection view. I'm just going to copy paste it and then show you what all has been done over there. So let me add this collection view. So let us start with this. We have a collection view. Selection mode is none. I don't want to select anything. I am going to use measure first item sizing strategy because that is going to give me better performance. I do not want, in fact, I do not have multiple items or multiple size items in my collection view. So I'm just going to measure the first item and use that throughout. I'm going to take up all the space horizontally. The height is going to be 200 pixels for this collection view. I'm going to bind it to the country stats and I'm going to give it some margin, 16 on the left hand side. I'm going to move it up a bit, as you will see, because I want to draw a shadow. I have to give it some padding, so I want to accommodate for that. I'm going to use the horizontal orientation, horizontal layout, and I don't want to give any item spacing between the two items in the collection view. The data template I'm using is nothing but a simple grid. It has a width of 140 and a padding of 16. Let's change this to pancake. Again, I'm going to make use of the pancake view with a corner radius, background color, and this time I'm using a different type of shadow over here. You will see I'm using a black color shadow with an opacity of 0.4 and an offset of 4x4. So it is going to slightly move the shadow to the right hand side and below the actual pancake view, and I'm going to give it a blur radius so that it is blurred but not too much. Then I have a grid. Grid is going to have two rows. The top row is going to hold our country name and the flag, and the second row is going to contain the actual case information. So in the first row, you can see I have defined a stack layout, horizontal layout, and it is binding to the image to the country flag. I've given it a width and height, and I am also displaying the country name. So let us bring in the country text style. So we have got the country text style, we have the country cases text style, and the country percentage text styles. You will see that in action in a moment. So here is our header. Then we have got the number of cases. It is nothing but a stack layout. All it is doing is vertically it is showing the total number of cases with 1000 separator. In the next line, it is showing the percentage of global in 0.0% format in a very big 36 font size, I suppose, and then just a static text of global. Now if I save this and run, let us see how does it look like. Here you go. So one of the things, just notice between the two, there is a small difference between the shadow type of this versus the shadow type that we have in this top portion. So this is the reason, just to show you that we have different kind of styling possible. So I've done that. There is something wrong with this, yes, because I did not save this guy. Here you go. So we have got US, which is around 1.9 million, almost 2 million cases, which is 28.6% of this overall global number of cases. Brazil is at 9.4%, Russia is 6.7%, Spain is 4.2%, and UK is 4.1%. Of course, if I go back and just to let me do something, let me comment this portion out so that we get all the countries in the world. Let's see how that looks like. So now you can see we have all the countries in the world with their flags. Okay, Germany. Maybe we ought to reduce the font size because some of them are too big. Let us do that. Country textile, let's make it 20 and hope this fits at least for most of the countries. Germany is still not coming. So to accommodate for this, let me then put this back, and we can make the width of this a little bit more, maybe 160, though it may or may not look good. Let's try this. Here you go. So now this is fitting most of them, but of course there will be some outliers. So we cannot do this for all, but one of the things, since we were only doing it for the top 5 countries, and at least as of now all the top 5 countries, their names are a bit small, so I'm okay to use a smaller width. But of course, when we go to the view all countries, when we click on that, then things will be totally different. So this is what we have so far. So next time what we are going to do, we are going to be working on 2 things. One is when you click on this, we are going to navigate to the news details page. When we click on this view all, we are going to navigate to the all countries page, which is going to show you vertically list of all the countries, the 215 countries that we have. We'll be showing perhaps similar kind of information, but maybe a flip kind of view. When you click on that one of the cards, it will flip on its axis and it will show you much more information. You could see in our model we have a lot more information. One of the things, if we really want to get very advanced, we can make use of, there are some APIs which provide you the daily case details for any country. We can use that to build a graph, a line chart, how the number of cases are progressing over the world. Let me show you what I mean by that is, so let's look at this one. The worldometers. So something of this sort. So you can see how the total number of cases have progressed. Of course, this is across the world. But if I click on any country, I hope that they are also providing something similar. No, I do not think they are providing. It's like, what is projections? Yeah, so something of this sort. leaving out the projection. So this is the kind of chart that you will see for the deaths. Something similar you will also see for the total number of cases. Let's look at this. So this is the one. This is for the closed cases, which is how many have recovered, and this is how many deaths. So something of this sort we can display if you want to go to that level of details. Let me know, what do you think? Do you want to implement that? What we can also do is, for each of the country, we can go down to the state level or the county level or the province level. We can show this kind of information as well. So perhaps if you click on United States of America, it can take you to another page where we can now show you the split by different states. If I perhaps go to a country like say UK, let us say, how do they display it over here? So yeah, this is what I was saying, the total cases. So you can see this is the kind of graph that I was planning to show the progression. And do they have any information? They don't have. If we go to China, I suppose for China they do have at the counties level. No, they do not. They do not. But some, I have seen some APIs where they provide you information about different provinces within a country. So we can go to this kind of level as well. Let me know, what do you think? If it is worth, we will definitely want to do this. So this is what we have achieved so far. I hope you like this. Let me stop and rerun this just to make sure that we are using proper spacing, or is it something going for a whack over here? No, that is fine. Maybe one of the things I might want to do, at the top there is lot more space over here. Maybe we need to reduce this space. Scroll view spacing is 24. Cover view, let's move it a little bit up. Nope, something is, no, it is not this. This is okay. There is actually, I suppose there is a navigation bar. Let me try something, just a moment. In my content page style, let me try to switch off the navigation bar. Navigation page dot has navigation bar equals to false. I have seen this problem before, and if I recall, this is how I have fixed it. So one of the things I will do, I will wrap this inside a navigation page. Anyways, that in the next session we were planning to do, because we wanted to navigate from one page to another for the news page, news item details, or the all countries. So anyways, we had to do this. Let's try to fix it and see how it looks like. Okay, this is, I know what is happening. Maybe we can make it a little bit smaller. Last time we tried, it did not work. It's not doing. Why is the navigation not going? Let me stop and run. Might be a problem with the hot reload. Navigation page is not going. I have seen this. Let me uninstall this and rerun this. To make it simpler, I suppose next time I'll be streaming from my Windows PC. It is much more convenient over there. Navigation has navigation bar. Yes, I have set it to false. Anyways, I will have a look at this. It might be some problem with my emulator, or it is not supposed to show this bar at the top. And even this one, we made it smaller. Let's go back to our page. Let's set the property over here. Navigation page dot has navigation bar equals to false. Nope, it does not seem to be working. Let me check my info.plist. Application, hide status bar, no. Status bar style is light. That is going to make the text as white only. Okay, so this time it seemed to have done the trick. Now we can go back to our dashboard page. Let's remove it from here. I think it is this property we had to set, and I am going to set the height of this to say 120. And is it okay? Let's set it to 120 and let's move this to bottom. Okay, it has again come back. There is something wrong. I need to look into this. This is very strange. Navigation page dot has navigation bar equals to false. And now I can move it to bottom. I'm not sure why it is not respecting the style which I'm defining over here. Target type is content page. I am defining it. I'm targeting the content page, so it should be respecting this. Okay. Let's move it to center again and increase this height for now. Yep, much better. Maybe we can move the scroll view a little bit above. Margin is equal to 0 minus 12 or minus 20 perhaps. Yep, looks a lot better now. Just quickly, let us run this on Android as well. Of course, there are some of the changes that we still need to make, especially in terms of the splash screen, adding the splash screen, or adding the icons, which we'll be doing in a later stage. Maybe in the next session. I was planning to do it today, but did not get enough time. Let me make it smaller, small enough for it to be fit on the screen. Still building. Meanwhile it is doing this, let me, okay, it is saving all. Let me commit all the changes to the GitHub so you can get all this information. So select all, commit, day 2 session updates, and commit. What happened? Okay, let us complete this first. So next time we'll be adding a splash screen and the icons, but more or less the application should be running fine in Android. It does not seem to be. Yeah, it is coming. We will do this later on. We'll change this style to white color. Obviously my Android emulator is running very slow. Yeah, perfect. So it is looking good. I think my internet connection is slow, so that is the reason the flags are still coming up. Maybe give it a while, the flags will show up. Yeah, the flags are coming up. It's just that I have a slow internet connection. Okay, so that's it. Let me commit all these changes. Commit day 2 changes, push changes immediately, commit. I think it's already committed. Let me just quickly have a look. No, not yet committed. Anyways, I will do that before I upload this video. I'll commit all the changes. Okay, so that's it. Let me know what all you want to see, and in the future what other type of applications you want me to demonstrate how to build. Please provide your feedback. You can reach me on Twitter, you can send me an email, you can go to my YouTube channel and you can leave the comments over there. Please feel free. So thank you very much for watching. Have a good day.